Let's go work out my maintenance calories, what my calorie deficit should be in order to lose weight. We're going to work out all the numbers. I'm going to explain you why I'm doing each thing that I'm doing and what we should be eating in order to get the results that we need. Come with me, let's go. If you want to lose weight properly, build muscle, or improve performance, you need to understand how many calories your body actually needs. And that starts with something called your basal metabolic rate, or your BMR. Your basal metabolic rate is the number of calories that your body burns at complete rest. That means if you stayed in bed all day and didn't move, your body would still burn calories to keep you alive. Your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your brain functioning, and just your organs working. That's your BMR. So how do you calculate this? For men and women, it's slightly different. So for a woman, you do 10 times your weight in kilograms, plus 6.5 times your height in centimeters, minus 5 times your age, minus 161. For men, the formula is pretty much the same, but slightly different. So you do 10 times your weight in kilograms, plus 6.25 times your height in centimeters, minus 5 times your age, and then you add 5. Once you have your basal metabolic rate, you need to multiply it by the activity level. If you're sedentary, that means you do little or no exercise, you multiply by 1.2 to work out your maintenance calories. Light exercise around 1 to 3 days a week, you multiply by 1.375. If you're moderately active, you multiply it by 1.55. If you're very active, 1.725. And if you're extra active, you multiply it by 1.9 to work out your maintenance calories. From there, that's when you can choose how much you want to go on a deficit by. When we talk about fat loss, it's important to understand the math behind it. 1 kilogram of body fat stores roughly 7,700 calories of energy. This means in order to lose 1 kilogram of body fat, you need to create a total calorie deficit of about 7,700 calories over time. Now, that doesn't mean that you should try cut all of that in 1 week. That would be extreme and unhealthy. Instead, we spread that deficit across several days. For example, if you reduce your intake by around 500 calories a day, you do 500 multiplied by 7 days equals 3,500 calories a week. 3,500 calories is roughly about 0.45 to 0.5 kilograms of fat loss a week. So if you reduce it by 300 a day, that's around 2,100 calories a week, which is around 0.25 to 0.3. And if you reduce around 700 calories, that's close to 0.6 kilograms a week. Now here's the important part. Just because you can create a large deficit doesn't mean you should. That can become unhealthy. The most sustainable rate of fat loss for most people is around 0.25 to 0.7 kilograms a week. So this means you're in a moderate deficit, which is around 400 to 600 calories a day. It's usually the sweet spot. This allows steady fat loss while preserving muscle, maintaining performance, and keeping your hormones stable. Fat loss is not going extreme for 2 weeks. It's about being consistent for months and letting your body adapt. Slow, steady, and structured fat loss almost always leads to better long-term results. So let's say someone's eating in a 500 calorie deficit and lifting weights 3 times a week. During the workouts, they burn the glycogen for energy. During walking or zone 2 cardio, they use more fat as fuel. Because they're in a calorie deficit overall, their body must tap into stored energy to make up the difference. If protein is high and resistance training is consistent, the body keeps muscle and primarily uses fat stores. Over time, that's how fat loss happens. Pretty simple. When you eat carbohydrates, they are broken down into glucose. That glucose enters your bloodstream and your body has 3 main options. First, it can use it immediately for energy. Second, it can store it as glycogen in your muscles and liver. Third, if you eat more than your body needs, it can convert that excess into fat for long-term storage. Glycogen is basically your short-term fuel tank. You'll store around 300 to 500 grams in your muscles and about 100 grams in your liver. This is the fuel that your body prefers for high-intensity training, like weightlifting, sprinting, or HIIT. Fat, on the other hand, is your long-term energy reserve. It's stored in fat cells and is broken down when your body needs extra energy. especially during lower intensity activities or when you're in a calorie deficit. But if you eat too little protein, your body might also break down muscle tissue for energy. This is called gluconeogenesis, where the amino acids are converted into glucose. That's why we recommend around 1.8 to 2 or 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight when dieting. Protein can protect your muscle, it increases satiety, and helps your metabolism stay higher during weight loss. We've talked about how many calories you should be eating in your deficit, but how do you actually work out how much of that would be protein, carbs, and fats? Well, here's how you do it. First priority is protein. For someone training and trying to lose fat, we aim for 1.8 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein. For a 75 kilogram woman, that's around 135 to 150 grams of protein a day. Protein has 4 calories per gram, so you multiply that, which 540 to 600 calories should be of protein a day. Next is thinking about fat. Fat is essential for hormone production, brain function, vitamin absorption, and your overall health. We never remove fat completely. A good range is 0.6 to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. For a 75 kilogram woman, that is roughly around 50 to 75 grams of fat a day. Fat has 9 calories per gram of fat, so that would be around 450 to 675 of your calories a day should be fat. And finally, the rest are just going to be your carbohydrates. Carbs fuel your workouts, they refill glycogen stores, and they support training performance and recovery. If you train regularly, carbs are important. If you reduce carbs too much, performance and energy levels can drop. Let's break that down a little bit more. Resistance training mainly uses glycogen. When you lift weights, your muscles use stored carbohydrates to produce energy quickly. But lifting is crucial because it tells your body to preserve muscle whilst you're losing weight. Zone 2 cardio, which is around 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate, like brisk walking or light cycling, uses a higher percentage of fat as energy during the activity. It's low stress, easy to recover from, and great for increasing overall calorie burn. High intensity training, like HIIT or sprints, uses mostly glycogen. It burns more total calories quickly, but it's more demanding on the body and its recovery. The best fat loss approach usually includes resistance training to preserve muscle and daily movement like walking, and optionally some higher intensity sessions. So, just to sum that up, the simple approach to fat loss, the right way, is starting with your BMR. That's the number of calories your body burns at rest. Multiply it by your activity level to find your daily maintenance calories. Then you create a calorie deficit. About 500 calories a day is safe and sustainable, which usually leads to around half a kilo of fat loss per week. Then you set your proteins, fats, and carbs. Enough to protect your muscle, enough fat to support hormones, and the rest is filled with carbs to fuel your workouts. Be consistent, stick to your plan, and combine it with resistance training and movement, and don't try to rush it. And recalculate along the way. After about a month or 8 weeks, weigh yourself and work out your new BMR based on your new weight. Then calculate your new deficit to continue losing the fat safely. Remember, fat loss is not a marathon. It's not a sprint. Small, consistent adjustments combined with proper nutrition and training are what lead to lasting results.